time for FOMO. So we are talking Apple, of course, one of the biggest, if not I think it's now the third biggest names in the overall market. So it has some pretty big influence with now more and more optimism regarding everything AI in relation to its smartphones. So here to discuss more on that, I'd like to welcome in Caroline Woods, Senior Markets Correspondent for the network. So Caroline, we're seeing some optimism from the analyst community today. They're not the first, but Rosenblatt I saw upgrading shares. So walk us through the story.
Hey there, Jenny. Yes, a bullish rating from Rosenblatt. The analyst there upgraded Apple to buy from neutral, was previously on the sidelines. The new price target, $260. That's up from $196. Apple's currently trading just above $213 right now, so that implies about 22 upside from current levels. One of the reasons that this Rosenblatt analyst is getting bullish is because of its privacy, Apple's privacy surrounding its Apple Intelligence. The analyst said strong privacy is by far the top feature that consumers want in AI based on its recent survey of U.S. consumers, and said to date it's unmatched by Android. So another reason outside of the privacy around AI is that Apple can minimize the hyperscaler cost risk, according to Rosenblatt. Thinks Apple's AI network or AI work will immunize it from cost pressures at hyperscalers like Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, while enabling Apple to benefit from their investments. So he says, so Apple can have its cake, healthy margins, and eat it too. He says the tipping AI risk reward is in favor of Apple, and actually gave a hockey quote here too. The puck is moving towards greater AI interest, we believe. We'd rather step up with a Wayne Gretzky-esque skate to where the AI puck is going and then stand in place and watch the AI puck pass us by. So as you can see here, good day for Apple. Shares are up more than 2% right now up about 11% this month alone, which is actually a little bit more than it is up year to date, only up about 10.8% year to date.
And it seems like they announced some features today as well, this rich communication services. What do we know about that?
Well, this was actually announced at the Worldwide Developers Conference, but it appears that iPhone users can now do things like share media with Android users and actually also get read receipts from non-iPhone users, things that they couldn't do before. And that's because Apple has finally added support for Rich Communication Services, or RCS, to its Messages app. The feature is part of the second developer beta of iOS 18. So RCS uses the internet to let you do things like send and receive high quality files, see the typing bubble, and get read receipts, start group chats, and more. And up until now, iPhone users could only send SMS or MMS text messages to communicate with those that didn't have an iPhone. So I actually tried to go into my settings and update my phone to iOS 18 to see if I could test this out, but couldn't find the ability to update to the beta of iOS 18. So I'm still running iOS 17. I couldn't see this, but as far as I know, the green bubbles are sticking around. It's just that hopefully now when the Android user texts in the group chat a video, it's not going to be the tiniest little thing that you can't see. It should actually be a high quality file, and that's because of this RCS feature.
Okay, that's really interesting because we do know that the green bubbles are such a pain point for those. And I have to call out Oliver Rennick, who's like the notorious green bubble guy, because we all know from group chats with him, he ruins our group chats. But as far as like the overall, I think like push into iOS 18, I do know, isn't this available to less than like 10% of all devices anyway? So I think I am eligible. I can't see it yet, but this is a relatively small thing, at least as of right now. But then the major changes come when, of course, we get the 16, correct?
Yes, I mean, that's the hope, right? That's why analysts are getting more bullish on Apple in hopes that they're going to sell more iPhones, more hardware, because people want these new and improved features, not necessarily this kind of small feature that was just unveiled in this beta version, but actually some of the Apple Intelligence features that they're hoping will be a good selling point to kind of push up iPhone sales, which we know have been sluggish. So analysts definitely getting more bullish, including Rosenblatt. Obviously, with that price target, implies more than 20% upside from here. I should say that BofA Securities also maintained a buy rating on Apple and a $230 price target, with a note out earlier basically just saying we view conversational AI with context and privacy as key to monetization of the installed base of Apple devices. So really focused on that privacy part as well. They actually see Apple Intelligence driving services revenue 14% higher year over year and pushing margins higher in 2024. And they actually expect App Store revenues to grow in the mid to high single digits through 2026, even despite some of that uncertainty around the antitrust issues that Apple is facing, as well as other tech companies are facing in the EU. So some bullish calls there. But one thing that I do think is important to point out is that despite some of these price targets that imply quite a bit of upside here, the highest I should note is $275, which implies about 30% upside. Apple's median price target is $210. So Apple's currently trading above that, despite the fact that more than 70% of analysts still have a buy rating on shares. So it'll be interesting to see if we see some analysts play catch up to notch that median price target a little bit higher.
Caroline, is there any chatter? I mean, you're on the floor, you see the traders and everybody walking around. Is there a feeling of uneasiness about the amount of market cap swings that we're seeing right now in some of these big names? I mean, Apple today alone, you're talking 60, 70 billion, Amazon, 70 billion. I think Nvidia's down 50, 60 billion. Like, these are huge companies that just the net change in Apple just basically is just like, oh, you don't even exist. You're smaller than how much our stock moves in a matter of minutes.
Not so much talk just in terms of market cap, but just still a lot of bullishness for the AI trade. And I think that's just because people are worried to bet against it, because it's really been what's powering this market higher. But yeah, no, I mean, I talked to quite a few of the traders who, some of them I know personally got out a little bit too soon, they would say. So, we kind of poke fun about that. But no, I mean, still a lot of bullishness in terms of the AI trade. Not necessarily, depending on who you talk to, as much bullishness about the broadening out of the rally, not necessarily seeing a fundamental reason for that at this point from some. But in terms of the Apples, the Nvidias, the Amazons, Metas, still a lot of green arrows expected.
Yeah, and a name that's looked pretty strong as of late. I have to say, a 2.2% move to the upside today, a nice 3% rally this week, and up 11% this month now. So it's been a nice turnaround. I know we saw a huge, massive upswing just a few weeks ago, but it's held on to this nice upper range. So appreciate the insight as always. Caroline Woods, great breakdown on all things Apple.